Kentucky Kingdom today is an amazing park located in Louisville, Kentucky. They are known for crazy rides such as Lightning Run and Storm Chaser, and they were also known for T3 until it was removed. This is an amazing park, but in order to understand how they got here, we have to go back, all the way back. We will cover all the way up to before the Six Flags purchase, so without further ado, here we go. All the way in the 1970s, there were some fairgrounds that were owned by the Kentucky government, and in order to attract more people, they decided to expand the fairgrounds to bring in more people. But only one season in the plan failed, and it closed, and it stayed like that for multiple years. This is where Ed Hart comes into the story. The rights to operate Kentucky Kingdom were purchased by Ed Hart and a group of investors in 1989. Hart was a local businessman who had renovated two buildings in Louisville's Highlands neighborhood. Apparently, he originally declined the offer, but came around later. Then, it was off to the races. They reopened the park actually under the Kentucky Kingdom name in 1990, and they realized right away that most of the rides only catered to children. So, Ed decided to expand the park across the street to build their first thrill ride, a wooden coaster known today as Thunder Run. It was the only ride over there at the start. In 1992, the park opened Hurricane Bay in that section. That is also where they opened their iconic Ferris wheel. In 1993, they added a new slide complex to the water park, and in 1994, they opened Mile High Falls, which is not a mile tall. It is an intimate shoot-the-chutes ride, and they added their Vekoma Jr. coaster roller skater. And as if the park wasn't adding enough, in 1995, they opened T2, Terrace of the Second Power, which terrorizes your head, and they added Elevator, an intimate drop tower. 1996 was a calm year for the park, not adding anything else besides a small upcharge attraction. But in 1997, they had their biggest year yet, adding Chang, a $12 million stand-up coaster, which stood 154 feet tall and had a speed of 63 miles per hour. They also added some go-karts, but later on, that year came the biggest news yet. Ed announced the park would be sold to Premier Parks, and part of that deal included making sure the park got continuous investments up until 2000. The park was renamed to Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom. In 1998, the park got the $5 million dueling wooden coaster Twisted Sisters, which later had to be renamed to Twisted Twins due to a copyright issue with there being a singing group called Twisted Sisters. And in 1999, Penguin River Rapids opened, and the Vampire Roller Coaster, which I had not previously mentioned, closed. It was a boomerang that was sent to Six Flags New England. The next year, they opened a Roadrunner Express, a Wild Mouse. In 2003, the park received its next coaster, Grease Lightning, a Swampscott shuttle loop. Elevator was renamed in 2007 to Superman Tower Power, which segues us into the first accident of the park. On June 21st, 2007, a 13-year-old girl named Caitlin Lassiter was on a trip to the park, and she decided to go on Tower of Power. Everything was normal. She took her seat, and the ride began. When she was partway up, one of the three cables snapped and wrapped around her legs, and the ride operators tried stopping it, but the ride dropped, and her feet were ripped off her legs. That sounds horrible, and the girl's life was changed. I hope her family got what they needed after that. The ride was torn down the following year. As if that was not being bad, Six Flags snatched Chang right out of the park. This was the sign of the end of Kentucky Kingdom. Ride removed the marquee attraction if you weren't going to get rid of the park, and in 2010, that is what they did. Six Flags also stole the Wild Mouse. Then our hero Ed Hart returned when he was needed the most. There were many attempts to revive the park by Ed and a group of friends, but before they could do it, the owners of Holiday World in Santa Claus, Indiana, came in and said they would revive the park with a new name, Bluegrass Boardwalk, which if that was a name, I would have never gone because that name is horrible. But that didn't come to fruition, and Ed got the park back. Now he had to start thinking about what to do at the park. He removed Grease Lightning, the go-karts, and Superman. In Superman's place, he added Fearfall, a new drop tower. And in the case of the other two, he added in one of the best rides known to mankind, a sensation of airtime and speed, while only being 120 feet. Lightning Run, a Chance Hyper GTX, the first of its kind. As someone who has ridden it, it is incredible. Also, they added another water park expansion. They then changed T2 to the horribleness we all know as T3. And good news, Thunder Run is still here, and Twisted Twins, but one of those won't be here for long. When the new version opened in 2014, it was a success. And so in 2016, Twisted Twins was wiped off the face of the earth Well, at least half of each side, because those two sides would be converted into the hottest thing on the block, an RMC hybrid, and Storm Chaser open to the public. It is also an incredible ride with great airtime and inversions. This just proves that Ed Hart is the best owner of a park of all time. And then 3 years later, they added another coaster, this time being a Gravity Group wooden family coaster, Kentucky Flyer, which provides fun airtime for GP and enthusiasts. But then, in 2021, the park was sold to Hirsch and Family Entertainment, which means it should be back in Ed Hart's hands in 2 to 8 years after closing for 3, based off the demographics. So far, nothing new has been added since Hirsch started owning it. I hope we see some investments from them because this park deserves it. And we have made it to the end. That was a lot. So I would be grateful if you subscribe, and I will see you next time.